Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to another episode of Manifesting Muslima. I'm your host, Zara Pedersen, and I am here today with a quickie but a goodie, hopefully. I do have to give you a little disclaimer before I get into this topic today, and that is that my female dog is in heat and my male dog is going mad. It is across species. He is whining, he's following her, he cannot get enough of her. She's tired, she's like, no means no, and he's a ninny. So he doesn't get it. So he gets really sad and upset when she walks away from him. So if you're hearing a lot of whining or growling or something in the background, trust that we're all safe and healthy and happy. It's literally just because she's in heat and he's losing his mind. And while I feel sorry for him, I'm just also like, well, I can't do anything. We've gone through this before, the three of us together, and it's a challenging couple of weeks. But somehow we managed to get through it nonetheless. But still, make a little prayer for me. All right. So that aside, if you hear that in the background, today we're going to talk about giving your manifestation a purpose. This is something that I don't hear a lot of manifestation coaches and law of attraction coaches talk a lot about. And I think, well, for a couple of reasons. And the first one might sound a little bit not so kind, but I just don't think a lot of people who teach the law of attraction really understand the theory that they're teaching, and may just have a really positive mindset in general in their life, and so they attract things easier to their lives. But it's not necessarily because they understand what it is that's happening in the background for it to actually happen. And so they don't actually speak into this because they don't know that this is actually also, or can very well be, a reason why some people find it difficult to attract certain things into their life. I've actually only heard one other coach speak about this, and she doesn't even teach law of attraction anymore. But when she said it, it was like such a huge aha moment. And this is something, giving your manifestation a purpose is something that is not always going to apply to you. But when it does, it really applies, and it can really help your attraction to this thing, or you attract this thing much faster because there's a purpose. So what am I talking about specifically here? So what I'm speaking of specifically is that when you're trying to manifest something, that in essence, with manifestation and the law of attraction, everything comes down to your belief. Do you believe that this is a possibility for you? Do you believe that it's realistic? Do you believe that this can happen for you, to you, however you want to, whatever it is that you're trying to manifest? And for us as Muslims, we understand and know that the law of attraction is not something that the universe does for us. It is something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does for us. The attraction and vibrating within frequencies, being, energetic creatures, is something that, Allah has given the universe and every one of us this ability to vibrate with each other, so to speak, within these energetic frequencies. However, this is still from Allah. We understand all of this. And we also know that Allah is limitless. There is nothing that Allah can't do. So if Allah wants to create something from nothing, Allah will create something from nothing. Whereas us as people can't do that. The universe can't do that, because the universe itself is also limited by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the abilities that Allah has given the universe. So, even if we're like, oh, but, the universe is, the universe is, you can align your frequencies, all that stuff, but the universe can only operate within what the framework Allah has given it. But Allah is the ultimate creator, and Allah is the one that will create certain things for us or not create certain things for us, or let something happen or not let something happen. And so when we understand that Allah is this limitless being, entity, divinity, and that we're asking the limitless for something in this dunya, it becomes so much easier for us to also believe in something that can feel unreal to us, or feel like it's something that we couldn't imagine could ever be a possibility for us in our lives. This is the beauty of having Islam and Allah behind you when you're using the law of attraction, and not, using, the universe, or like you being this ultimate creator, or some other shirk, astaghfirullah, that other people are teaching. So when we have this understanding and knowledge, that is amazing, of course, because it means that the limitless is optional for you. in the sense that Allah can create the limitless for you. We always still have to remember, though, that when we're using the law of attraction, we have not been given ultimate power, and we have not been given reign over anything and everything that we want, which means that even with the law of attraction, we have limits around that. We can't manifest death upon ourselves or others. We can't manifest against the natural laws of physics, nature, all of these things. So there are limits to what we can manifest and how we can use the law of attraction. And so within those frames, of course, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can at any moment choose to bend these rules, but that's not going to happen for any of us because we're not prophets, and this is a test for us, right? So we are the ones who have to prove a point to Allah, not the other way around. So that means that we in this dunya have limits. So when we're trying to use the law of attraction, we understand our limitations as these creatures in this dunya who are servants to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Almighty. Having the knowledge that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is there to support our desires in this dunya can make it easier for us to dream big. However, dreaming big and really trusting that we are worthy and deserving of this manifestation coming into our life and us being blessed with it are two very different things. A dream is one thing, but in order for us to fully manifest something into our life, we have to truly believe in it. And that's not just to believe in Allah's ability to give this thing to us. It is also the believe in, I am worthy of receiving it. Allah wants me to have it. It is a possibility for me to get it. And now this is very different, because now we need to start not so much dealing with, Allah's ability with creating, miracles for us. Rather, it's a question of, do we feel worthy? Do we feel like we are in the correct situation? Do we believe in ourselves? What do our fears tell us? All of these things. 1 second. Doodle, stop. Oh, the little whinies. Twinkle's gone to sleep. Oh, he's up on the bed. That's why. Give us a second. No, you know what? He can stay up there for a little bit because she's just having a nap. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, so there's a difference between, dreaming and then really trusting that this is a reality and believing that it is a reality for you. And when we have to believe that it is a reality for us, we have to deal with ourselves, our own minds, our own beliefs. And it's not so much putting everything onto Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is now our time to start understanding and creating the reality, or understanding the reality the way that we want to understand the reality and perceive our situation the way that we want to perceive it. And this is something that can be quite difficult for a lot of people, because our perception of reality, our understanding of reality is very much tainted by previous experiences, our past, our memories, traumas, people around us, whether or not we have the correct supports, mental health issues, physical issues. There's so many things that could become kind of an obstacle in our own perception of whether or not something can be real for us. Even with the understanding that Allah can make anything real for anyone, if Allah so chooses, it is a question of where do we restrict ourselves? So one thing that we can use in this in order to help us really believe something to be truth for us is to give our manifestation a purpose. Now, what does this mean? To give our manifestation a purpose means, instead of just throwing out an arbitrary dream when you're trying to manifest something, which a lot of people will do. When we say the law of attraction, a lot of people immediately start thinking very grand. They start, putting out like their biggest dreams. And listen, there's nothing wrong with this, okay? But if you don't fully believe in it, then there's no point in you saying, these things, because it doesn't matter anyway, because at this point, it's not going to stick ultimately. Because again, law of attraction ultimately comes down to your belief. What do you believe? And so when you're trying to manifest something, I'm going to use something, the example of money. I've used that before many times in TikTok. It's such a good example for, these kinds of situations, but it could be other things as well. If you're trying to manifest money, then give the money that you're trying to manifest a purpose. And this is not I just want to buy a house. No. Be very specific here. If you're trying to say I just want to manifest more money, life would be easier and I could pay my rent. Okay, good. How much is your rent? How much is the bills? How much do you want for groceries? How much is your allowance for yourself, your children, whatever? How much do you want to spend on savings? How much do you want to put aside for holidays? How much do you want to this, that, and the other? How much is your car insurance? How much is this? There are so many things all of a sudden. And the thing is, we can put out this number of saying, I want to manifest £1 million. Great. Listen, that's amazing for you. But ultimately, if Doodles, I'm so sorry. I might have to go over and, I'm just going to put you down here for a second. I know. I'm not professional. It is what it is. I'm a one-woman show, you guys. Doodle. There. All right. I'm back. I never actually fully left. I just... You know what it is? It's like having a baby, and I'm not trying to say dogs and babies are the same. I would not be that person, but it's the sound. The sound. It's like, I think, like my sister said, when her child cries, it's like she can't, like her brain just can't. And it's the same for me when my dogs cry. My brain just kind of can't handle it. Anyway, so trying to manifest money. So when you're actually sitting down to do your calculations, quite often you'll find that the numbers that you actually need are much less than what you think they are, which for one makes it a little bit easier and more, realistic for you to manifest it. If you're saying $1 million and you've never, or £1 million or whatever, and you've never had that kind of money in your life, it's very difficult for you to imagine a reality where that is your reality. So this is a reality where that is a possibility for you. So in this case, what we want to do is, when we start giving everything a purpose that way, and we start sitting down and being like, okay, but what do I want to manifest? Why do I want to manifest it? And how would I use it? How would it apply into my life? Where would I give it like a real purpose in your life? It becomes a realistic part of your everyday life because it has a purpose in your life. £1 million would be great, but if it doesn't actually have a purpose, it's a little bit more difficult for you to understand that this is a realistic opportunity for you to have in your life. Again, there's nothing wrong with wanting to manifest £1 million, but if you don't actually know for it to be true or understand that it can be true for you, fully believe and understand that it could be true for you to manifest £1 million, then it's not going to come to you, or at least it's going to take so much more work than if you start with, I make £2,000 a month. I'd like to get £3,000 because with £3,000, I've got another 500 to set aside for my savings, and I've got another 200 for this and another 300 for that. And there's a specific plan for it, which makes it so much easier for you to actually see a reality where this money actually plays a part in your life, where it actually is relevant in your life and is realistic in your life. Okay. And listen, it could be more. You can, but try and jump it up slowly. Make like it's our minds are a little bit like a rubber band, The more you stretch it, the bigger it'll grow, But if you start trying to stretch it without it having, like, if you know the saying. I'm trying to use that metaphor, but I'm not very good at it. But if you take a new rubber band and you just stretch it as far as you can, it'll snap. It kind of has to be warmed up, and then it'll start like getting expanding, naturally. You fully, girl, don't even, like, exactly what I was trying to say with that metaphor that I completely butchered, I know you do, sis. That's our brain. That's our minds. That's how our belief also works. Little by little. Don't try and snap the band the first time you're trying to manifest something. Do it little by little. Try and manifest little by little. Work up that muscle. Work up your understanding of how it works. Work up your understanding of your perception of reality, even, because those things are the same. The more we start practicing the law of attraction, the easier it becomes for us to start manifesting bigger and bigger and bigger things, because we get better at it. But we can't do that to begin with because we still don't actually understand this tool yet. You don't go into the gym and you start sprinting. No, you start off walking on a treadmill, then you start maybe doing an incline, then a little jog, and then walk, and so on and so forth. And it's very much the same here. But if you are ever wondering if you're missing something and you feel like, but I don't know how to make it feel like a reality to me, give it a purpose. That is one of the things that as I mentioned, like I've heard one person talk about in the past, and the moment I heard it, I was like, this makes so much sense. Like, it needs to have a purpose in my life for me to understand that it is within the realm of reality for me to have. And so that's what I would say to you. And that could be with anything, a new car. It could be a husband if you're trying to manifest a marriage. It could be the next house that you want to get, whether you want to go up in like space or down in space. It could be anything that you're trying to manifest. If it has a purpose, it becomes easier for you to make it a part of your reality and then manifesting it into your life. Anyway, my dogs are starting to go a little bit mad. So before they start killing each other, I am going to jump off again now, but I do hope, as I said, that there was something in this episode that was valuable to you. I know that the first time I heard it, it really changed my ability to make something feel more like a reality than a dream. Anyway, thank you so much for listening in today. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, whatever you're doing. And until next time, my darling friend, please don't forget to live in love.